Hey, Spuddies, Potato McWhiskey here, and welcome back to Let's Play Age of Wonders Planetfall. I have a little army over here in, I can't see the name of the city, oh god, Erdinsk, and we have them setting up. I'm mainly just having them guard the city, like we were talking about, because the city needs to build up its defenses before we can start to explore and maybe start clearing out some of the local area. I also have another army under construction in my capital, so that I can finally start to clear out some of this northern section. Been very, very careful and cautious in my expansion, and eventually we are going to start running into some problems. As we start to run into, expansion problems as we run out of land to expand to, we're going to have to look to maybe start conquering someone. And these guys over here might be prime targets. The Assembly have actually offered me something here. They want to give me contact information. I'm going to go ahead and decline that. I don't want to know everyone. And it looks like the Amazon actually want to have open borders. I'm going to accept that because if I can minimize, again, if I can minimize the amount of people I have to be at war with, and, open borders can lead to good relations. So I think that's a good move. We have a quest right here that we're going to do. I think we only have one turn to do it, so it's now or never. We're up against quite a few units. We are significantly more powerful. Let's see what the auto combat does for us. And we did in fact win and leveled up all these units. Beautiful. Finishing that quest picked us up a little bit of diplomatic reputation with these guys and some influence, a little bit of science and money, which is beautiful. And as a result of that, we've actually managed to pick up accelerated force development, which gives us transit infrastructure, ruins navigation, and mountain navigation, which means our units are much more mobile and we get to pick another technology. I think I've been delaying food development for quite a while now, so let's go ahead and pick that up so we can start to grow bigger cities. And in fact, this hero over here has leveled up. So let's have a look at his abilities. I think this guy has the shield breaching rifle, so I'll pick up Deadeye to give him a little bit more accuracy, and then I'll pick up 1 point in vitality. Although I could save those 2 points to pick up range specialist next level, and so to turn this guy into a really strong combat unit, which I really like having strong combat units for my heroes. We're going to take a moment here. I think we can heal up and then take on this enemy area right here next turn. Now this rather well experienced army is in really good shape. These guys have extra range. I believe these guys also get extra range with their prime rank. They get a bunch of extra health. These guys are much more stronger than normal. So I'm kind of tempted to upgrade these guys into thundering units. Yeah, I think I'll upgrade these guys into thundering units, and it'll only cost me 20 Cosmite, but it'll make them significantly stronger. And then we can look to clear this out over the next couple of turns. Of course, spending that Cosmite did mean that I won't be able to build another unit in my capital, but I'll go ahead and grab the Diplomatic Analysis Wing, which will give me even more influence to buy units from neutral factions, as well as just continue to expand my influence on the map. Time to take on this Plague Army, and we'll see how it goes. Now, these guys are actually pretty damn strong, and there's also the geothermal instability here. I'm going to go ahead and do the auto combat and see if we lose anything. We do lose 2 units, so I'm going to retry that battle under my own steam and see if we can get a better outcome. We'll set up a couple of Overwatch arcs here to make sure that our flanks are well protected so they can't advance onto us too quickly. All of our units are set up with an Overwatch covering all of my units, so let's see what the enemy does. Looks like they're going to buff each other and play a little bit defensively. Oh no, they're advancing to take shots at me, and they did actually stagger this guy, which is kind of annoying, because that actually breaks the Overwatch on some of my units. We did get a couple of free shots. Ooh, those guys took some pretty bad damage. We do have to watch out for this geothermal instability, because that's going to be a big problem for us, especially because it's going to trigger burning and stuff like that. First things first, we're going to take out these pustules with my hero unit. Like so, those guys are down. These guys are going to step forward and then cast their sort of projection to make a secondary unit. I'll get them to then go into a defense mode, as will the projection. You're just going to use those guys to tank, essentially. Let's get a heal onto these guys so they can tank a bit more for me. I think we'll take the shots right here to see if we can get these guys down. We might miss a couple of shots, but that's okay, because I have another unit that I can use to take them on. I'm going to use... these guys are a little bit hurt. Could I throw a grenade? I could, and that'll actually detonate this and maybe get me a double stagger. There we go. Beautiful. And the melee Overwatch was cancelled, and all those explosions finished them off for me. And then we can use these guys to finish these guys off with the impact. Although I think this has massive impact, which means it would be a double stagger. Let's take 3 shots. And there we go. We static charged them and stunned them. We can also use an operation here. And I'd like to use Arc Discharge to try to stagger some of these guys. But these guys have grounding harness. Ooh, let's actually do rot proliferation here. This might be a good opportunity to pick up some of these bleak units, the desolates. So we'll cast it on these guys. So we've got, oh, damn it. Looks like they resisted it. They do have entropic decay, however. We'll try that again next turn. There's the burning, doing damage to everyone on the map, which sucks. A lot of our units are not really in good shape to take much more damage. Okay, so we lost our Paragon units. We did expect... I kind of expected to lose a single unit here. This is a very strong army that we're up against. Right, let's try Rot Proliferation again. Preferably on these units that are out in the open. Ah, they resisted. God damn it. That's really unfortunate. I'm going to try to delay killing them for one more turn to see if I can get more off. We'll do the attacks with my cloned units. They get a melee overwatch, but that's okay. These guys can die. It's not a big deal. Let's see if we can start taking out some of these units. I want to get rid of that rider if I can. And the question is, which unit do I use to do that? Because, yeah, I think I'll use these guys to get rid of them. That seems pretty reasonable to me. And then we'll use my hero to significantly damage this unit right here. Got 2 nice hits off and we charred them. If I can get this finishing blow, that would be good. Beautiful, we got the finishing blow. Let's push forward with our overseers and reactivate the syndicate indentured here so that they can act again. And I think I'll finish off one of these guys and then try to rot proliferate them again next turn. Let's see what they do. They're going to come forward. Ooh, no kill, please. Ah, that's really unfortunate that they got that kill. So we didn't exactly get a better outcome, but sometimes you just don't have that option. Let's go ahead and try rot proliferation on these guys. There we go. So we have proliferated the rot to them. Let's see if we can finish them off. Beautiful. So we just picked up a Forgotten Desolate. Technically we lost 2 units, but we did gain 1 back. We complete the objective, we take our reward, and now we have access to the Forgotten Desolate unit. Now this unit has resurgence, which means as long as we win the battle, they come back with 50% of their maximum health. So they're kind of throwaway units. Now I'm not sure when I want to use them. They definitely have a short range melee attack and a short range AoE attack, it looks like. So I think if these guys are going to be getting up close and personal, they would definitely want to have arc retaliation defense to be able to take those kind of hits early. I think also giving them the Phase Walker module will allow them to be more defensive as well, giving them a little bit of evasion and an extra ranged shield. Kind of tempted to give them cerebral control collars, even though they can't really become indentured. Although I think technically they can be considered indentured. So that would actually lower their cost and give them a little bit of defense in the form of psionic resistance and a little bit more range defense. These guys are quite tanky now. The really powerful thing is if we can get these guys leveled up, they will actually ignore Overwatch. So we'll call these guys the Opened Core, we'll mod them, and we'll plug them into this army. We're going to have to take these guys on. And we also need to deal with this quartzite nest up here. I'm going to get these guys into position, and then I'm going to bring these guys to come down and assist, because you can actually have armies cooperate on missions. So I'm going to see if I can get 2 people together to take this on. There's food development finished. Beautiful. We can now take care of any food problems we have. I don't think we need aquatic development just yet. I would like anthropological research to be able to get extra cosmite, because right now I'm having a little bit of a cosmite crunch. Cosmite is a pretty big part of actually upgrading my army now. So getting as much of that as possible is a really good thing. My capital, again, I would love to be building units in here, but I really don't want to be building crappy tier 1 non-cosmite units. So I think I'm tempted to go for the botanical gardens, which will allow me to get more happiness events in here, because this not only will give me a bit of happiness, it'll also give me 2 slots for workers to work in the happiness slots here. Let's get our 2 armies into position to cooperate on this battle. They are going to be working together. I don't think I'll be able to take over any of these guys, but we can get to work. See, now we have 2,208 power. Let's auto-combat that. We didn't lose any units. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and finish that. Now, we have a body odor dispenser. That is a hero mod, and we can also pick up a liquid flame. I'm going to go ahead and take that reward, because I'm missing a unit in this army. And then I'll also take this reward as well. And then I'm going to plug this unit into this army So now I have a quartzite, and the really cool thing about these little quartzite guys is they will actually metamorphose when they get to a certain experience level. So we're going to want to try to keep these guys alive as much as possible. If we can get them to level up, they become extremely powerful tier 3 units, I believe. Now these are sort of ranged units, so I think it would be good to give them 20% accuracy to be able to attack better. They'll also do slightly more damage. I'm also tempted to give them the Phase Walker module to be able to take less hits. And then I'll give them the Sci-Tech Vision Enhancers, which will give them even more defense and evasion. So these guys are really hard to hit, which they kind of need because they have a very low health pool. Over here in my new Vanguard city, it looks like we've managed to build up the defense here. I could upgrade the food sector, or I could pick up some of these things. I think I'm going to be specializing this place for extreme amounts of growth. So I think picking up the bioengineered food plantation would be a way to extend that growth and then to do the food upgrade sector. And then I'll probably do improved military infrastructure to make this city even more powerful on the defense. As for my Devara city, it has picked up the very, very basics of defensive things. I'm kind of tempted to pick up a prospector here. Yeah, I'm going to pick up 2 prospectors. And I think then I'll also grab a trencher. So, however, I don't need to defend this city anymore because it has its own internal defense. Let's go ahead and start clearing out some of these local areas. Looks like we've got a little anomaly over here that we can explore. We'll explore it with this leader. It'll get us a bit of science and a bit of experience on this leader. Melvor, on the other hand, my first settled city, has finished its construction. It's pretty much well built. It'll grow in a turn or two, and it's still focusing on growth and happiness, so we're still getting those happiness events at a pretty regular pace. I could pick up the botanical gardens, I could build some units. I think what we're going to do is this city is kind of more built for science, so we're going to focus on getting botanical gardens in here to again get more of those happiness events. Okay, so the Vanguard have actually declared war on me, which is a big concern because I believe the Vanguard are all the way down here, so I'm going to have to start worrying about units coming out of the fog of war to the southeast. And with that in mind, we are at our maximum influence. So there's a couple of things I need to do here. The first thing that I need to do is deploy some monitors. So we're going to start deploying monitors in the direction of the Vanguard. I'm going to put one right here, like so. That'll give me a pretty good overview of this attack vector. And I'm going to use this scouting unit to sort of get a wall of vision, essentially, so I can kind of see if the Vanguard are coming for me. Looks like the Forgotten have a mission for me. I'm going to go ahead and accept that mission. I've got a pretty good relation with the Forgotten now. And not only that, but it might be time to start pumping up our relationship with these guys so that we can maybe annex them into our city. Let's first start buying a couple of these mods. So I'll grab the Forgotten Essence Siphon, the Entropic Transpositioner, and the Corrupted Incarnation, because having extra choices on our thing will be really, really useful. And then we need another 2 purchases with these guys. So I might just buy a pair of Serpions here to get my relationship up to the level that's required. So I'll buy one this turn, and then I'll buy one next turn. And that'll add another unit to this army that I'm in the process of building over here. Looks like we've got a fairly weak neutral army that we can get some experience on our little quartzite here. So let's do that. I'll just auto-combat this and hope that my units survive. Looks like everyone survived pretty well. So we can take that. We got a bunch of money. And we can start making our way towards this Forgotten quest. If I can complete that quest before I need to purchase, that might actually be even better than just doing the purchase to get the maximum relationship with them. So in my capital, I think I'm going to go ahead and grab myself. I can't really afford a Thundering Indentured. I think I'll just grab maybe another Guild Assassin to start rounding out this army. The Guild Assassin is a good tier 3 unit. Is it tier 2 or tier 3? I can never remember. It's a tier 2 unit, but we can slot a Guild Assassin in here. That'll add a little bit of firepower to this army, and we can start exploring up here to the north. My Vanguard city is ready to annex another sector, and I think I want to annex the Dwelling of the Decaying Tombs if I can, so that's why I'm trying to get to maximum relationship with them. Erdinsk can also annex a sector, and I think... Is there Cosmite in the area? That's the real thing. Well, really what we want is this neutral... The monument here. Maybe we'll get that after we've done this. So... maybe it would be good to pick up a food site so that we can grow this city a little bit quicker and get more defense in it. We have a whole ton of tasks in here. We completed the negotiator so we can lower the price of items bought from dwellings. That would be a good one to pick up. We can also go ahead and pick up the patron. If we buy 3 dwellings, we actually get a small army as a reward. We got another happiness event for a little bit of money. See, the Unifier. Beautiful. So we have to make an alliance with 2 different players. And then we'll get a bunch of influence and money. The Kirko have insulted me, which is worrying. Although they are on the other side of the map as far as I can tell. Right? Yeah, I think so. Ebra insulted me too. Looks like my relations with people are not going well. But the good news is, because war has been declared on me, my units are a lot better because my empire is happy, right? That the war has been declared on me. So I get an approving modifier, which gives me 10% unit morale, 10% colony happiness, and minus 10% unit upkeep. We've got our first monitoring station in place. Let's go ahead and deploy another one now. I'm going to position this one right here. That'll give me some advanced warning of the incoming armies from Yellow, who has declared war on me. So we finally met the Syndicate. I'm going to go ahead and be nice to them, and I'm also going to compliment them so that I can keep my relations with them pretty well. Let's jump into the milestone station to get all our movement points back. Are we ready to take on this army? It's actually a pretty strong army. It's got 1 tier 3, 2 tier 2s, and a tier 1 plasmoid. I think we can take this on, even if our units are a little bit hurt. Let's auto-combat it to see if we get the outcome we like. And we did get a good outcome, so we'll go ahead and just close that. We'll finish that mission. I'm going to go ahead and take those rewards. And now I have a good enough relation with this dwelling to actually look towards annexing them once I have enough diplomatic influence, which I'll get next turn, to connect it to... Is it Hestebur I want to connect? Yeah, I want to connect it to Hestebur. My main hero has leveled up as well. Now, we already have shield battery, but I really like the idea of getting shield modulator as well, because that'll give all of my units in the army another +1 to shields, meaning they're even tankier and harder to kill. And getting extra armor is actually really, really nice, because if you take someone from 10 damage to 9 damage, that's a 10% reduction. But if you take someone from 9 damage to 8 damage, that's slightly more than 10%. So each point of armor is actually more valuable the more you get. My Echo Walker here could possibly make use of some of these corrupted mods. If I gave it corrupted incarnation, it would no longer be affected by morale, and it would gain entropic necrophagy on attacks that don't spend essence. So when it kills another unit, it consumes the corpse, gains an essence charge, and heals for 8 health, as well as getting it +1 armor. That could be a really useful item for a melee unit. Kills typically don't happen that often, so it might be better to go for Forgotten Energy Essence Siphon, which gives it the ability to sort of gain essence charge from its attacks. I'm going to hold off on modding these guys. They're pretty weak, although I could give them Arc Retaliation Defense, which would, again, just make them tankier, and then also give them Corrupted Incarnation to make them like a very, very strong get-in-your-face kind of unit. So I think I'll make them a very strong get-in-your-face kind of unit, and then we'll kind of move on and see if we can clear out this little hovel here next turn. Now, I picked up these prospectors to send them on auto-explore because they have a unique auto-explore feature which lets them actually prospect for resources in unexplored territory, which is really, really helpful. It's probably not like super valuable, but I guess it's a way to get value out of them without having to do much in the way of effort on my part. The Scyfish have a mission for me. I'm going to go ahead and accept that mission. It'll be a little while before I can take this on because it is a bunch of tier 3 quartzite bashers. And these are the unit that my little units are going to evolve into eventually. Managed to complete that anomaly that we were talking about earlier. Let's go ahead and accept the reward and investigate the device. Looks like these armies wanted to retreat. There you go, retreat, get a little bit of rewards, and that's perfectly fine by me. Although I would have liked the experience. We've been talking about it a while, but it's finally time to annex this thing to Hestebur. Let's go ahead and do it. There we are. Now I have the Dwelling of the Decaying Catacomb. And if we click on here, what this does is I believe it gives us a fully built level 5 production area. And then we can use that to sort of start maybe pumping out units. For example, we get 30% cost of colony structures here if we wanted, or we can pick up Military Engineering Guild to get a 30% cost reduction on non-elite units, as well as giving them +2 armor. +2 armor is really good because it applies to melee attacks against you and ranged attacks, so it makes you really, really tough. There is Neuroelectric Disruptors. If you forget what that's about, it basically is a better weapon technology. Over here in the Arc tree of our weapons technology. This is going to give us access to the stun module, which allows our arc attacks to stun enemies, as well as the arc extension module, which allows our attacks to bounce around. This actually can turn our very basic units into incredibly powerful, hard-hitting units. It also gives us access to the Pulse Disruption Lance, which can allow biological units to get electrified or mechanical units to be stunned. I think at this point it might be a good idea to pick up the Phase Manipulator program. Phase Manipulators are very, very powerful specialist units that let you reposition enemy units around the battlefield, kind of ruining their cover and defensive bonuses. And you can see here, prospecting gets us a little bit of production over here. I think I did another prospecting here, got a bit of production. So it's just a way to kind of get extra resources out of your scouting that is exclusive to the Devar. And because we captured a Devar city, we could build these prospectors and send them around the map to pick up a little bit of extra awards, which was like my entire plan. We're also going to be making use of a Devar Trencher unit. They're not very good, but they are kind of like a good stand-in. I don't really have good options to resupply this army over here on this front. Let's ask the Forgotten to vacate this space-time research park. We'll take that reward, and when Melvor hits population 12, it'll be able to annex this and become a very powerful side city. Time for another monitor to be deployed. Let's go ahead and prime it and place it down over here. Because again, I'm really worried about this war that was declared on me by the yellow faction. So I kind of need to know if they're coming at me at all. Looks like the Kiri have also declared war on me. Now the Kiri, which ones are the Kiri? I don't know where they are on the map actually. I can't quite tell. Are these guys? No, this is the Syndicate. The Syndicates of the Northwest are pretty friendly with me. I know for a fact the yellow guys are at war with me, but who are the Kiri? Okay, so it looks like Kiri is down here in the southeast. So it looks like the Vanguard and the insects are at war with me, but they're also at war with each other. So I'm hoping they'll keep each other busy, and I'll just keep extending my vision knowledge using my scouts and the monitor stations across the continent. Like I was saying, let's deploy ourselves another monitor. These are pretty expensive to maintain, but okay, who is that? That looks like it's the other Amazon player who I have pretty good relationship with. I'm going to go ahead and compliment them to try to improve our relationship. We currently have a non-aggression pact, which is really, really good, because they have a pretty large army over here that I'm a little bit worried about. There's anthropological research giving us the Xeno Relations Division, as well as the Cosmite Growth Chambers. The Cosmite Growth Chambers are like the biggest thing that we wanted. Let's go ahead and cancel what we were doing in the capital and immediately build the Cosmite Growth Chambers, because we're severely lacking in Cosmite to mod our units. We should be able to clear this out pretty safely and not lose any units. There you go. And let's look into modding these guys. Now the question is, I could keep the static build-up module, which makes each additional hit do more damage, or I could go ahead and take the arc extension module, which would allow their attacks to bounce. And a bouncing attacks is incredibly powerful in this game, so I think that's what I'm going to go ahead and switch that out for. I'm also going to go ahead and swap out the stagger arc impact module here, and instead put the stun module in, I think. It's worth more damage, and stun is better than stagger. And this will make these guys incredibly powerful. I will eventually want to replace this exploitative targeting system, but for now, these units are really, really good on the offense. So we'll upgrade those into the taser version of the indentured, and I'll do the same things with these guys. These guys now have pretty late game improvements. They've got those tier 3 mods plugged in. Now, my guild assassins, I'm not going to give them the arc extension module. Do I actually? Actually, thinking about it, the arc extension module and the stun module on these guys would be really, really powerful. Because they only fire a single attack, they actually get twice as much chance to inflict the stun. So I'm going to go ahead and mod them the electro dazing. This hero that was taking care of the archaeology over here also leveled up. I'm going to take archaeology upgrades because I feel like there's a couple of archaeology projects in the area that I can take care of with this guy that'll keep him busy for a while. Looks like my Vanguard bike riding guy also got a level up. I'm going to take Vitality on him to start with to get him really, really tanky, because this bike is pretty low range from what I remember. Yeah, it only has 5 range on its attack, so we'll want that to be as high as possible in terms of his health, so that he can kind of get up close and personal and do what needs to be done. Since they're also going to be get up and close, like I was saying, they're going to take all around awareness so they can no longer be flanked. And the majority of their army is infantry, so I'm kind of tempted to take infantry commander and martial inspiration to give a bunch of morale to the army, but I am using a lot of indentured army, so that might not be worth it. Instead, I'm just going to go ahead and pick up Deadeye, which will give him a better chance to hit and crit. Looks like the spawner over here has pooped out another army. Let's go ahead and take that on in auto combat. Should be a pretty easy win. These units are very, very powerful. We have done most of the research I need to here. I'm trying to think about what my next moves are. The Cosmoid Application Lab would be really, really powerful because it would allow me to upgrade my science sectors, and it would also reduce the cosmite cost of my units. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and get the research development too, because if I get this research development and upgrade all my science sectors, that'll mean any future science technology researching I do will be a lot cheaper. The Amazon are now saying they're a little bit hostile to me. So she says she may take drastic measures to hinder my plans, which makes me extra worried because there's this like massive army over here that I was concerned about earlier. We'll see where she moves. If she starts moving towards me, I'll have to redirect my entire war effort to this eastern side of the map. But it looks like she's just clearing out some of these things around the map. Ah, there it is. So she just declared war on me. So war is starting to break out. So I'm going to not be able to do a whole lot more hard teching and expanding. And I'm going to have to start building up massive swarms of units to start to hit these cities. I do have an idea that I wanted to try, which is to build a whole bunch of low-tech units into like an 18 stack without any heroes or anything like that, and just throw them at the enemy and sort of use my massive production advantage and high-tech units that I can build out of my capital to see if I can't sort of overpower people. We'll see if we can make that work for us. I'd like to see if I could take on this army here. It's pretty powerful, but my army is also pretty powerful. So let's see if we can get an auto combat here with a favorable result. And we can actually. Beautiful. There's a really, really easy clear. We get to... Oh, we could get a Hopperhound Blade Maw. Now, these can evolve. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take that reward because a Hopperhound Blade Maw can evolve into a very powerful unit. I'm going to see if I can offer the Syndicate over here a non-aggression pact and see if they think it's a reasonable deal. Okay, so they decline. That's not a good sign. I'm going to send them a compliment and see if they want to be a little bit more friendly. Starting to run out of potential friends here. And this city is right on the front line, which makes me very concerned. But we do have really, really good vision, so we'll see any armies coming from a long way away. All right. Looks like the AI has sensed blood in the water, and now pretty much everyone has declared war on me. There's only two people I'm not at war with, which I believe are these guys over here. In fact, I think these are the only guys I'm not at war with. So now I'm not really going to get much more opportunity to expand, explore, and all that stuff. Now I need to just go full hardcore into military production and gold production. Or energy production, rather. Okay, so we tried to tame a quartzite worm, and now we got to try to fight it. It's a tier 4 elite unit. See if auto combat ends up good for us. It looks like auto combat was just fine. Beautiful. So we actually managed to get the quartzite worm. That's actually huge. That's a really powerful unit. And we got a huge amount of tech out of that too. God damn, look at this unit. This thing is ridiculous. But we managed to tame it. It now belongs to me. The hard part is going to be keeping this thing alive. Now we have the phase manipulator as an option. I could get the Rift Guardian. I think I need to go back and get some of these syndicate techs. I've been severely lacking on actual, like, my own true technology. What we're going to be doing is, for example, over here in Hestebur, this Vanguard city, right now, we're building the Military Engineering Guild. We're going to be creating a version of the Vanguard Trooper. It's going to be a very cheap unit that pretty much just has the cerebral control collars on it. That'll turn it into a mindless sort of indentured unit. And we'll be pairing these with some heavily upgraded overseers and sort of using them as cannon fodder to try and just like wear the enemy down. So 5 cosmite for a unit is pretty darn cheap. And we're going to be mass producing vanguards out of here. And they'll also have +2 or 3. I think it's +3. Is it +3 armor or +2 armor? I can't remember. I think it's +2 armor from the Military Engineering Guild, which means they'll be very cheap, very tough units. I tried to say cheap and tough in the same word there, and it just came out completely wrong. Looks like the Amazon have turned their attention to me, and they're making their way over to my Devar city. So I'm going to have to try and set up a defense for this. I do have units in the nearby area to guard this expansion. I've also built the bombard cannons in the main city, and I've got a trencher defending there as well, but I'm going to need an even bigger army. I've also started moving down 2 armies down to the south to fight these guys. I'm going to need to take them on. But the big thing right now is to finish my current projects and then move on to mass production. Looks like the Forgotten want me to research a technology for them. I'm going to accept that quest, but I'm going to delay it because I'm kind of in the middle of researching something right now. Okay, all these red dots on the map are making me really, really worried. Let's go ahead and prime another monitor. I'm going to have to start killing some of these monitors as I run out of money. But, okay, this is exactly what I was worried about. There's a massive army on the way to my city over here. Thank God I have my army en route to defend. And I have another army up here to the north that'll be able to get up here to defend. I think I can hold this off with these 2 armies. I'm a little bit concerned, though. The other Syndicate player is now looking for a non-aggression pact. That's really, really good. Especially considering just how much war I'm going to be dealing with. These guys are getting closer to my cities every single turn. I'm not even going to get a chance to really produce that many Vanguard troopers to help in the defense. But I will have 2 full army stacks, a Vanguard support trooper, and the local colony militia to defend. And I can also do some strategic operations against those armies. Once I have them unlocked. But this is a really big, really scary army filled with like multiple tier 1 units, plenty of tier 2 units as well. So this is going to be a very tough battle to hold Hestabur. Now thankfully I did build up pretty strong military infrastructure here. It's got the bombard cannons, it's got the full colony defense, so I think I should be able to hold here. There's military dominance. We now have the ability to deploy sentinels as a summon, which is pretty helpful because it means we essentially, all of our armies are walking around with extra units, which is really powerful. I'm going to go ahead and pick up Augmented Force. This is a really, really powerful unit. This is a really, really powerful unit upgrade for my Overseers that gives them Control Amplifier, which allows them to increase the damage output of all indentured units by 25% for 2 turns. This is kind of the plan, is to make use of this, kind of create these huge armies of indentured units with an Overseer or 2 inside them, and then use the Control Amplifier to boost their damage to get really, really cost-effective armies that are hard to defeat. The battle for Hestabur is about to commence. Now, I could boost my military infrastructure by spending all my money, but I think I'm going to save that money for the actual battle. And instead, what we're going to do is just to try to squeeze out 1 more Vanguard trooper before the battle actually commences. I'm not under immediate threat over here in the Devar city, so I think I can take the time to start to produce some more buildings, maybe build up a stronger city. So here comes the battle for Hestabur. I'm expecting a massive army. Oh, it looks like they ran past me. This actually presents a really interesting opportunity. Since they ran past me, I might be able to take on their army a bit at a time. Since what we can do here is, if we carefully position ourselves around this enemy army, we could isolate a sector of it and take on just 10 to 14 of the units in a single battle, rather than having to fight all of them at once when they surround us. This is actually a pretty strategic error from the AI. Although they are positioned really defensively, I think if I do this correctly, I can isolate one of their armies. We have our units in position. I'm going to attack with my main army here. And yeah, you can see here, even though we're pretty evenly matched, we get to choose the combat location. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take this fight. But we're going to do that in the next episode. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.